Perfect.
Go.
Okay, so we will get started. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this special Change for Climate Lunchbox session. Today we're going to focus on the Neighbouring for Climate program. We're going to share information about climate change, provide you with some context about the whys of this program, and showcase some of the program pieces and hopefully inspire you to participate as a climate connector. I'm Heather Wheelaker, and I'm here with my colleagues, Adam Holmes and Karen Young. And the three of us work in the Planning and Environmental Services branch with the city. And just a note, this session will be recorded. So to start us off, I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. The City of Edmonton acknowledges the traditional land on which we reside is Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as the Nehiyaw, the Dene, the Anishinaabe, Nakota Iska, Niitsitapi, and we also acknowledge this as the Métis homeland and the home of one of the largest communities of Inuit south of the 60th parallel. It's a welcoming place for all people who come from around the world to share Edmonton as a home. Each of us shares responsibility to maintain and grow cultures, diverse cultures within an inclusive and respectable community, and to extend our hands and hearts in truth and reconciliation. Hopefully by the end of this session, you will know lots about the program and perhaps enough to get you excited enough to sign up and be a climate connector. So I know that you're excited to see the toolkit, but first we're going to start with a little bit of background information, and I'm going to turn it over to Adam to tell us a little bit about climate changes projected for Edmonton. Adam, take it away,
Perfect.
please.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Heather. So the Neighboring for Climate program is the result of 2 years of research, which included consultation with citizens like you and a pilot program that we ran last summer. And I'm going to provide some information about climate change in Edmonton, and this context will help explain why we've developed the Neighboring for Climate program. And while it may seem like citizens' efforts go unnoticed at times, Edmontonians have consistently shown their genuine concern about climate change. Our annual citizen survey reveals that 74% of respondents are concerned about climate change, and 73% agree that immediate action is necessary. So what guides this work on climate change? Edmonton's city plan charts out how we will create a city that has the benefits we enjoy today with new opportunities for the future. So it provides the overall direction for how the city will develop as our population grows. And you can explore the city plan in detail at edmonton.ca/cityplan. And within the city plan are subplans, two of which specifically address climate change. So the city is committed to supporting residents in their efforts to address climate change. Firstly, the focus of Edmonton's Community Energy Transition Strategy and Action Plan is about reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climate change. Secondly, given that we're already experiencing the effects of climate change, we need to be prepared for the changes and take action to manage the risks of a changing climate. So adaptation is the focus of the Climate Resilient Edmonton Adaptation Strategy and Action Plan. Goals and actions in both the mitigation and adaptation strategies indicate that citizens need to be involved in taking action. So when Heather provides more information about the Neighbouring program, you'll notice some of the materials address emergency preparedness. And that's because the Neighbouring for Climate program originated from the Adaptation Strategy and Action Plan. But now we'll take a moment to review the difference between weather and climate. So you've probably experienced times where one neighborhood in Edmonton had sunshine, while another across the city experienced heavy rainfall. This is weather, the short-term atmospheric conditions. However, when we discuss climate, we're examining weather patterns over a longer period of time, usually over an average of spanning 30 years. So although two neighborhoods within a city will share the same climate, the weather may vary significantly between them. For example, Clairview in the northeast and Terwillegar in the southwest. So but extreme weather events are indicators of a warming climate, and it's a phenomenon we're beginning to witness. And climate change projections are grounded in long-term climate trends. But sometimes these projections manifest in current weather patterns and extreme weather occurrences. So this slide shows historical average temperatures for Edmonton. In the last 100 years, Edmonton's average temperature has increased by 1.7 degrees Celsius. If you look at the average increase over nearly 60 years, the average temperature has increased by 3.5 degrees Celsius. The image on the bottom, this is often referred to as warming stripes, which you may have seen before, and that has cooler temperatures depicted in blue and warmer temperatures in shades of red and orange. And interestingly, you can view a life-size painted mural of the warming stripes just south of White Avenue in the alley at 8115 104th Street. So these average temperatures are projected to continue to rise into the future. So what can we generally expect for Edmonton in terms of climate change impacts? We expect warmer winters overall with more frequent freeze-thaw cycles, which can lead to icy or slushy conditions on the roads and sidewalks, making it challenging to get around safely. And also, like we experienced this past winter, we'll continue to experience periods of deep cold. Summer will bring hotter and drier conditions, both of which impact our ability to grow food. So recent examples of food supply chain shortages caused by drought and heat include lettuce and rice and vegetable oil, and maple syrup and olive oil are also included on this list. So in addition, heat can also affect our comfort levels, indoors and out. So parts of the city that are dominated by concrete and lack shade trees, or homes that lack air conditioning or a cool basement to escape to, can make the high temperatures incredibly uncomfortable. We can expect spring and fall to be warmer and wetter, with rainfall becoming more intense and leading to overland flood conditions. Heavy downpours can result in water pooling in our neighborhoods. The warming and drying climate will cause long-term change, which means that we'll see gradual shifts in the type of plant and animal species that thrive in certain areas over time. And we call this ecological shift. And while this image on the slide is an artist's rendering, it illustrates the potential for significant changes in the ecosystem if a pest outbreak or wildfire were to occur. The forest may grow back, but it may support different species that are better suited to a hotter and drier climate. On a neighborhood level, this means we should consider planting more heat-tolerant and drought-tolerant plants that will be better adapted to climate change. And now, to talk more about the Neighbouring for Climate program, I'll turn it back to Heather to tell us more.
Great, thank you, Adam. So Adam provided you with some pretty dreary but important information. So now I'm going to tell you about the Neighbouring for Climate program. It was co-created with citizens just like you who told us loud and clear, no more strategies, no more plans. We want to act on climate change. The toolkit is based on actions you can do with your neighbors to mitigate and adapt to climate change. When we started working with citizens, when we were just formulating ideas around this program, some of the descriptors that the citizens used to describe what the program needed to be or do included action focused. As I said, no more strategies, we want to act. They wanted it to be easy and tangible so that neighbors could tackle simple changes together. They wanted it to be inclusive and accessible, actions that anyone can do regardless of age, ability, comfort, and entry point for everyone. Also, they said, make sure that it's shareable. We want to be able to spread this to others. We want to build in celebrations so that we can spotlight the actions that neighbors are taking together on an ongoing basis, and make sure that it's beyond climate. So highlight the benefits and use language that sparks interest beyond just climate change. And you'll notice some of the topic cards, for example, gardening. You might say, well, I don't garden for climate change, and that's okay, but gardening is included. I can certainly connect that to climate change, but you as a participant don't necessarily need to. The benefits, however, of working with your neighbors or neighboring. These are peer-reviewed, they're well-researched around the world. Neighborhoods are the places we call home and where we have the most invested financially and emotionally. So by supporting one another, we can create resilient neighborhoods that benefit everyone. There are social, health, environmental, and financial benefits to working with your neighbors. The program was designed, as I mentioned, to meet the needs of everyone in the neighborhood, not just the few active climate enthusiasts. It has something for everyone. The program provides tools to help you get to know your neighbors. These are the people who live next door, the people on your street, on your block, or in your building. And if you sign up to lead climate action as part of the Neighbouring for Climate program, we don't expect that you're going to reach out to hundreds of homes. Instead, it's designed for you to bring maybe 3 to 15 households together to take action. It's about working together with those who live closest to you, whether that's on your street or in your building. So the main pieces of the program include a starter guide. This includes tips for initiating a conversation with your neighbor, as well as postcards for you to fill out and drop off as a starting point for that conversation. There are also action cards. These are color-coded by topics, and they provide ideas on what you can do to prepare for a changing climate, as well as to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Many of the cards will indicate a link for further information. This brings you to the online hub where you will find a document dedicated to resources you can search for more information. And really, there isn't a wrong way to use the kit. The starter guide explains the different notations on the cards. It provides some extra tips on how you might use them. It's really designed to help you as citizens work together to lower emissions, adapt your blocks and your streets for a changing climate, and even to get to know each other in the event of an emergency situation. A colleague would always say to me, "Isn't it better to know your neighbor before you need them?" So in with the projections that Adam has reviewed for us, we know that heat is we're going to experience hotter summers. So who is checking on elderly people on your street to ensure that that heat is not unbearable for them? Or checking on those who have compromised breathing or immune systems? Who are you going to call upon in the event of a lengthy power outage? We're all in this together, and there is strength in numbers. Knowing your neighbors provides those who need a little extra attention a sense of security, and those of us who can go the extra mile, it leaves us with a good feeling of being able to help others. In times of a crisis, those who are used to giving more may find themselves in a situation where they too need to take the help offered by their neighbors. Being neighborly is built into the program so that you can feel supported for the work you're doing. It's about everyone getting together to work on shared goals. The action cards are intended to help you identify things you can do that will have a positive impact on climate change, and as I mentioned, will work for everyone involved. The activities are meant to help us to prepare one street at a time to reduce the risks posed by climate change and to reduce our emissions. The action cards make it feel a little bit different from just another document. They've got some really practical benefits too. They encourage us to sit down at a kitchen table or a community event and read through the bite-sized information so it's not too overwhelming. We can sort the cards, we can share activities of interest. They're color-coded. The blue shown in this slide represents the water conservation and waste management actions. The additional resources that you can find online, the document looks something like this, also color-coded, so you know which set of action cards they relate to. And each action card is designed with similar features. The front of the card indicates the level of effort required, what season is best for that action. It shows a unique number to help you track your activities. It has tags to help you decide if the action is suitable, such as family friendly or bulk shopping. And again, color coded so you know which theme it fits with. The front of the card also indicates why that action is important. And on the back, seen on your screen on the right, it indicates what the action is. So with a little bit of instruction of some ideas about what you can do. And then at the bottom of that card, it says next up. And that's where it lists other action cards that might work well with this one. The community members who helped us to design this program contributed many of the actions that you find in the card deck. And then we divided them into 6 topic categories to make it easier to choose actions based on interests and passions of you and your neighbors. Some categories certainly overlap with others, so we encourage you to mix and match the activities. The next up section of the cards I mentioned is useful for connecting actions to each other. So the 6 topics you'll find in the kit are starting actions, emergency preparedness, nature and plants, food security, energy and fuel savings, and waste and water. And the kits also include some postcards and posters that you can fill out and put up in your building or leave on someone's doorstep. These are great starter actions. And if you ever have to replenish your kit, many of the resources are available online and you can download them and use them in an electronic form, or if you need to or wish to, you can also print them from home. So you go to edmonton.ca/climateneighbours to find all of that great information. So I thought we would take a few minutes to view the toolkit materials. To do this, Adam is going to provide you with an overview of the starter cards. And as he will explain, the starter actions are really foundational to the whole program. And after Adam tells us more about what's in the starter cards, we'll dive into another topic area and perhaps 2 if we have time. So before Adam starts, we're just going to take a moment to have you tell us which is your top choice, and I'll review those cards after Adam presents. So what topic would you like to hear more about? Okay, so, oh, we've got 3 ties.
Hope nature
Nature
and
and
plants
plants,
is
and then I'll just
ahead. Yeah.
pick one from waste and water, energy and fuel, or emergency preparedness. Okay, so thank you for participating in that. So Adam will start us off just talking about the starter cards.
Okay, great. Thank you, Heather. So as Heather mentioned, these 4 starter cards, they're part of, one of the 6 categories is our starter card category. And so these 4 that we have as starter cards are the foundational pillars of the Neighbouring for Climate Toolkit. So each of these cards is designed to guide you through the critical first steps of becoming a climate connector for your block or your building. So I'm just going to walk through these 4. So first we have on the left of your screen the Get to Know Your Neighbors card. This card emphasizes the importance of forging connections in your neighborhood. From leaving friendly notes to hosting gatherings, it's about creating a sense of belonging and fostering relationships that contribute to safety and well-being. And then next we have Learn About Climate Change. So understanding the local and global impacts of climate change is essential for informed action. This card encourages you to explore the causes, research mitigation and adaptation strategies, and address the emotional aspect of learning about climate change challenges, which can be a feeling of loss known as eco-grief. So very important of this card, just being well informed, as you'll probably be getting a lot of questions yourselves and have the confidence and ability to respond to those as you meet your neighbors and discuss it with them. And then we have Become a Climate Change Advocate. So this empowers you to take initiative in your neighborhood. And by initiating conversations and using the Neighbouring for Climate Toolkit, you can inspire others to join you in addressing climate challenges at the community level. And finally, we have Explore Local Assets. This encourages you to recognize your community's unique strengths and resources. And to do this, by conducting a local asset inventory with your neighbors, you can identify opportunities for collective action and use local resources effectively. So that's why these 4 starter cards provide that solid foundation for your role as a climate connector, enabling you to initiate actions with your neighbors across all of the other categories that you'll discover in the toolkit. And now I'll turn it back to Heather, and yeah, we can explore yeah, the category from our poll results.
I think you can see nature and plants on my screen. So this is on the website, and if we have time, we'll look at another card category as well, and I'll show you a bit of the website too. So as Adam said, getting to know your neighbors is the critical piece of the program. And then once you do that, you can start looking at what are some of the other actions that we're going to take. So nature and plants is all about biodiversity and the importance of biodiversity to creating healthy cities. And so on the start of this of the cards, it talks a little bit more about that whole category. And then the back of that card will list the various different actions that are included in that card set. So for nature and plants, one of the actions is to create a nature plant, which essentially is walking around your neighborhood and taking an inventory of what's there. Are there native trees that are native to this area? Are they ornamentals? Do they attract pollinators, species, and so on? Planting a garden, planting trees, how to use your leaves, which ties well with composting. And another idea is to start a seed exchange or a seed library so that you and your neighbors can start sharing different seeds and planting species that will, of course, tolerate a drier condition and also more heat. And so there are also on the cards some links back to the resources on the online hub where you can get more information about plants that will be able to grow in Edmonton's future climate. So again, why is this action of creating a nature map important? It helps us to find out what are the features that are close to home and what improvements can we make within our neighborhood. This one is a mid-effort card. It's low cost, it's family friendly. You're walking around the neighborhood, taking an inventory, and you can certainly see what's available in the different seasons. Probably not a winter activity to assess what plants you have, but certainly spring, summer, and fall. You can see what's available in your neighborhood. This is what you can do, map the natural systems. The little icon that you can see indicates you can go online and find more information to help this activity out and brainstorm solutions for how natural systems could be better connected. Next up, the action works well with growing plants to eat and installing a rain garden. And as we had mentioned, all of the cards are coded, so F4. All of the cards that start with F would be under food security, and W8, W means these would be the blue cards in waste and water. Planting a garden is a great way to increase the sense of well-being within your community. Planting gardens can reduce the urban heat island effect, improve local ecosystems, and provide access to nature very close to home. Again, a mid-effort, low cost, family friendly, and bulk buy. And so it suggests you organize garden tours or workshops, skill sharing with your neighbors, and be creative in finding spaces. The next up cards list 4 different activities within the toolkit that this might pair well with. Another card is planting trees. Why do you plant trees? I'll leave you to answer that. This might have a bit of a higher effort, choosing where you're going to plant trees. You want to call before you dig, as it says on the back side of the card under what you can do, just to make sure that trees are located away from utilities when the roots start to grow on those trees. So a bit of a higher effort, but also make it into an event. It's family friendly and can be done spring, summer, and perhaps into the fall, but spring and summer for sure. And then using your leaves. So rather than spending so much time raking up your leaves, leave your leaves so that they create places for small critters to live in the winter time, and you could mulch them and leave them, and they will break down a little bit faster and provide more nutrients for your lawn areas. So you can also collect and share your leaves with others for their gardens and compost. And lastly, in this category is start a seed exchange or a library. And this can help you to learn from one another. And that's another part of the whole neighboring program is you don't have to be an expert in all of this or any of this. If you can just get your neighbors together and find out who has skills, who has expertise, who has knowledge that they can share with others. That's it. It's really about working together on these various pieces. So saving, storing, sharing your seeds, even setting up a drop box. Where am I going to put my seeds? Who's going to collect them? So that's the cards that have to do with nature and biodiversity, which of course we renamed to nature and plants because we did receive last year through the pilot program that some of the words were not as familiar to everyone. I'll just show you on the website. When you land on the website, it takes you to Neighbouring for Climate, tells you what the toolkit is. This is where we have our workshops that are advertised, and then exploring the actions. And so they're listed here, but also you can click on these different guides. And the last one is additional resources, which, as I mentioned earlier, are color coded according to the topic that they relate to. So it's a great guide filled with materials and ideas for more information, which we will update as time goes on. There are also print at home templates that are produced and left on the website if you wanted to print them off or even just read through them and get some ideas that may be useful. Quick time check. I thought maybe I'm just going to look at the energy and fuel savings cards very quickly. I won't go through all of them, but when we started this program, it was noted that, climate change really is about reducing emissions. And Adam had mentioned that when we started down the road of developing this program, we really had an adaptation lens. But adaptation doesn't address reducing emissions. Let's put it that way. You can have a super energy efficient furnace in your basement, but if your home floods, that furnace is not going to be much value to you. And so we need to adapt our homes for a changing climate. But citizens told us to, no, we want to address greenhouse gas emissions. And so you'll find that sprinkled throughout the cards in the toolkit. And how we've addressed this here is the city does have a lot of programs that help citizens to reduce emissions. We have rebates, financing programs, and other informational programs that help you to figure out what it is that you need to do to reduce the energy that you use in your home. So for these cards, we thought, what can we put into these cards that people can do together? So one is traveling sustainably, teaching each other the best bike routes in the city. How can you set up walking school buses, for example, in your neighborhood? Conducting a home energy assessment. So instead of you working all by yourself to have a home energy assessment done in your home, maybe there are 3 or 4 neighbors that also need a home energy assessment. And so you work together to find one home energy assessor who will come in and audit all of your homes kind of on the same day or over the same couple of days. And maybe you'll even get a deal on that. Reducing your energy consumption, installing sustainable energy. Same thing, it's working together, buying in bulk so that people who are doing home retrofits or coming to assess your homes, they show up in one neighborhood and they work with everyone on that street when it comes time to deciding what kind of furnace, if I need to upgrade my furnace, and you find out, oh, 5 of us have to upgrade our furnace because they're avocado green and we've had them since the 1960s or 70s. What furnace are we going to buy? maybe if you're purchasing 5 furnaces, I don't know this for sure, but perhaps if you're purchasing 5 on your street, you can get a bit of a deal on that. I'm not saying that you definitely will, but these are things that you could certainly explore by working together with your neighbors. So that just gives you a sense of why we didn't um, put all of our efforts on home energy efficiency in this program. As I said, the city has lots of materials that address that and how you can work individually in your home. But this was all about how do I work with my neighbors on collective action and getting some work done so that collectively on our street we're reducing emissions. Okay, so that gives you just a taste of a couple of topics that are in this program. So we are going to close things off. Thank you for joining us for the webinar. If you're ready to act, we hope your neighboring activities go really well, and we will stay in touch with you. Everyone who receives a kit, we will send you monthly newsletters, and we will also email you every so often. So the program information, Karen has pasted that in the chat, edmonton.ca/climateneighbours, where you can find a digital version of all of the kit materials. And don't forget, email us for your printed kit. Follow us on social media to stay informed about all things climate change at the city. And finally, I wish to thank my colleague, Karen Young. Thank you, Karen, for handling all of the logistical pieces to make this happen and for all of your support on this program, and Adam Holmes for co-presenting and for your work on this program too. And to our audience, have a terrific afternoon. And okay,
Yeah, thank
thank
you,
you.
everybody. Yeah, thank you.